Finally, MLG's own Shibby caught up with the director of Ender's Game, Gavin Hood. He got a chance to learn more about making of the movie, as well as play around with some anti-gravity simulators. Check it out.
All right, guys, I'm Shibby here with Gavin Hood, the director of Ender's Game.
Fire! I've never seen anyone do that.
So, did you reference any video games when you were coming up with a design for how you're going to build a battle room? It's really cool you guys came up with that concept.
No, it's a really tricky thing because you don't want to look like you're stealing from anybody else. And one of the pluses of me, I hate to admit this, is that I never saw a television set until I was 13 years old. Awesome. So to all you gamers out there and to my kids who are awesome and love their games, Dad was like launched into the future because I grew up in South Africa and literally there was no TV there until 1976. Whoa. So, and I was 13, and I'm 50 now. So I kind of missed this, and I've always felt I'm catching up on the technology wave. And so it's like, well, how come you're making this big sci-fi movie?
Yeah.
And for me, it's just wonderful because I loved photography, and this was an extension of that. And getting to work with these amazing visual effects artists to tell a story that's really about this kid's inner journey.
Yep.
Using this incredible technology, and of course, having done a few of these movies now, I actually have learned how it works.
Right.
But it's weird. I feel as if I was launched from like the 1930s into the future when I came to America.
No kidding. When you were figuring out the technology, what was your favorite part about the technology? What does it allow you to do that you haven't been able to do in other movies?
Well, I think we're at a place now, and I think you can see it in Ender's Game, where people like Matthew Butler, our wonderful visual effects supervisor, and his team of 750 people. So let's not kid ourselves how many people are involved in it. But there is such a level of realism is now possible with visual effects that you as a writer and filmmaker can, if you dream it and visualize it, you can make it. And so at the end of the day, what we now have is the ability for great artists to use tools that allow them to create extremely realistic looking worlds. And that's moving more and more into the game world, right? I mean, it's one of the reasons why in Ender's Game we made the mind game, which is the video game he plays in the game, not realistic. We made it more painterly. Because we thought, wow, our movie is realistic. It turns out to be a game. There are games that I play that are not photoreal and that my kids play that are not photoreal. And I think that now, you know, dream it. If you want to do a photoreal game where you feel like you're immersed in the action, it's just becoming more and more realistic. But there's also the opportunity now to go the other way and do games that are, you know, animated and creative and graphic in ways that are not photorealistic.
So the visual effects in the movie, how much of that is actually real and how much is that actually done in post-production work?
First of all, there are a lot of shots that we did of the kids flying on wires and in harnesses and things called the lollipop, which I think you went.
It has to be like you're reaching for something, you fall, your feet come over, as you come back up, you're reaching again for something. There you go, and then you keep on turning with the feet, then your hand keeps, almost, good.
So you're in these horrible, uncomfortable contraptions, simulating as best as we can on Earth a feeling of weightlessness and a feeling of moving in zero gravity. The problem is that no matter how hard you try, when you're hanging from pick points or in that harness, you're still pivoting around a point. And it's very hard to get the physics of what would actually be happening with your body in a zero gravity world where your center of mass remains in a certain place and reacts in a specific way depending on where you move your limbs. We filmed the kids doing this in order to get their facial expressions. If you're flying, it's an amazing thing, but a lot of the body has to be replaced. Partly because it's surrounded by a giant harness, but also because it's not quite doing what it should do. So you go, my God, you went to all this effort to film you in that lollipop in order just to get your face. Yes, that's the answer.
And you actually got to play a part in the movie, right?
Oh, I got to play this weird character of the giant in the mind game. Yeah, you barely know it's me. Well, you shouldn't know it's me because the animators did such a great job of creating this giant and all that stuff. But I had the fun of dressing up in the mocap suit with all the dots and just... And yeah, so I had a day of fun.
Cool.
It was good fun.
I saw the movie. You make an awesome giant.
Thank you very much.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much for your time.
And thank you. Thank you.
Guys, if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you check it out. Puckett, I'm going to send it back to you, my friend.